Hi, my name is Anthony Michael Johnson, and this is my learner analysis project. So why am I doing this? I just have the purpose of participating in this project so I can gather information about a single child and observe the student in the context of their surrounding, that being the school I work at and the school they attend daily. I work with Bradley every day for a little bit of time and sometimes more on other days at the kindergarten classroom in KinderCare in Golden, Colorado. I chose Bradley because he had such a variance from day to day in his behavior and his emotional changes, while showing a high interest in specific subjects and specific ways of having fun in different subjects. Surprisingly, as I studied Bradley, he and his family shared some of the similar interests I have for myself. Another reason I chose Bradley is because he always seems to know where he wants to go. I thought this was interesting because I sometimes see children walking around aimlessly, and he always kind of has a way of going about things. Even if he's just walking around, he likes to look at different things. He has fun with math when we play games or if we're using the smartboard after recess when we're just in playtime, but sometimes he has troubles focusing on math during the lesson block. Some of Bradley's positive traits are that he's a very good complex thinker and problem solver, especially with other children. He knows how to explain, he knows how to listen to what they have to say, and he knows how to figure out what to do next. He also is good at creating fun times through any situation. Some of his not so positive qualities in the classroom exhibit are he is easily distracted and he's fidgety, and sometimes he's impulse driven and stubborn when you ask him to do things. As I said earlier, the context and setting is at a KinderCare, which is a private for-profit institution for child care, usually from infants to school age after school. This was a kindergarten classroom that's year-round and then also is mixed with school agers during the day after school. Our school had mountains on three sides of us with cliffs and beautiful landscapes to look out during recess and through the window. Here is another look at Golden, Colorado. It is a valley that is just outside of Denver metro area and only takes a few minutes to get to on the highway. Here you can see the School of Mines where we went on a field trip one day. As you can see, Golden is predominantly white as far as race goes and has a population of about 18,000 people. The demographics here show not only two sides of what you see as far as who lives here, but also shows that many of the people that live here are not at risk for the environmental factors that could contribute to learning disabilities. My role as an educator is not only to contribute to the basic needs of a child, but also to hone in on the specific needs that any given child may need. By studying Bradley in this project, I found out that I could help him in different simple ways by skewing his day-to-day activities and making him the bearer of his own good news. Here is a simple example of what a typical KinderCare classroom may look like, though they are very different in some ways. The learning environment shows the different types of uses of space and the layout. This can contribute to the focus and attention or the lack thereof for the children in the environment. Throughout my teacher education program and when I studied ECE, I learned the value of transitions and routines for young children. Documentation also allows the children to see what they've done and give them the hope that they can do even greater things one day by seeing their progress. Transitions give them the chance to be accountable for what they're doing and know what's coming next. During math time, our teacher would sit in front of the Promethean board while the children would sit on the floor with clipboards. On this day I observed them interacting with the teacher and observed how many times Bradley would willingly respond to the questions asked him. When I observed Bradley for the type of food he ate, it was because his mom expressed concern for his nutritional value and how he was going about it. I told her what he ate each day, and I also took a tally of how many different types of foods he tried each day. Sometimes it was a battle, and sometimes I let it go. On St. Patrick's Day, the main teacher in the kindergarten room had a surprise for the children after they came in for recess. She messed the room up and told them that she didn't know what happened. All the children, including Bradley, were excited and afraid that the leprechaun had been there. This made for an interesting conversation as to how they would all act and react to the situation. As you can see here, there was a huge mess, and Bradley and his friends decided that they were going to set leprechaun traps later on. They did this using a variety of materials in very detailed ways. They explained how they would capture the leprechaun. Bradley showed that many times he would have fights with children when he was playing with them, but then other times he would get really excited that he knew what he was talking about and that he could help someone with what they were doing. Sometimes the evidence that Bradley needed interaction with the smartboard or something hands-on was so evident because he would get so distracted when the teacher would simply ask him to count or use his fingers or something like that. And then when he got the chance to play a game, he could count and learn very well. On one of our first field trips to a park, Bradley and his friends got there, and shortly after they wanted to eat lunch. We told them that we were going to wait for everyone else, and this started a very harsh complaining effort by them. After a while, they decided that they weren't that hungry anyways. Later on, some skateboarders came by, and Bradley was all about it. He loves to skateboard at home and scooter, so he was telling everyone about what he does at home when they came up. Sometimes the stubbornness in a child isn't just what they say or argue with, but when we went to the aquarium, he showed stubbornness by trying to be individualized by walking away from the group. He wanted to be on his own in a way. During the summer, we got opportunities to go somewhere a few times a week. We tried to make them different and exciting in many ways. Here at Casa Bonita, we got to do a myriad of different things, including explore and walk around the vast landscape that is the inside of Casa Bonita. Some of the field trips proved to be too unexciting for Bradley. On here, he just wanted to get the candy at the end. One of my fondest observations and interactions with Bradley was at the end of this summer before I was getting ready to start my new job and my new semester at school, when we were just playing basketball outside with everyone. He started shooting the ball and saying random types of funny food groups and different made up foods, and then he would laugh when I would go pick it up and try and eat it and say yummy or yucky. Then I started making up types of food, and soon other kids would join in and get along just fine with both of us. One thing I can hope to do in the future if I work in a public school or at a child care center is to be involved with nature and letting children interact with nature and find stuff out for themselves. Today, Bradley decided that he wanted to make a water ditch in a irrigation center with his friends. It was very fun to interact with them and ask them questions along the way, and when their parents would come to pick them up, they got even more excited about what they were doing. Sometimes, as I said, the battles were not won by me or him, and it was better left alone, such as things during lunchtime with trying to get him to eat food or trying to get him to stop messing around and have good manners. Sometimes as a teacher you have to sit back and say they're just kids, but then other times you have to ask them politely and then give them an ulterior motive to do something else. During this day, Bradley and his friends were making bubbles with their milk, and I tried to be proactive and tell him that if he did not stop after I asked a few times, he would have to pour it out. I decided to say, you know what, I don't want to see you make bubbles, but if that's what you're going to do, then I'm going to have to tell your mom when she gets here. I later told Bradley that that's not what I wanted to do. I don't like threatening him with telling his mom stuff, but his mom needs to know, I said. Bradley is always excited when his parents come to pick him up, even though he may not run right to them. He knows they're watching them, and he knows that they care about what he's doing, so he gets even more encroached in what he's doing. He gets very excited and enticed in what he is accomplishing. Like I said before, some of the things that I like to do at home or in my free time, their family does too, like camping. This was a very good way to make a connection and to get Bradley excited about us interacting together. Although the few times I interviewed Bradley were very short, he told me many things during the days in quick, short jargons of sentences to myself. He said that he likes to scooter, he likes to walk on the sidewalk specifically to get to each other's houses when he goes to play with his friends. And he tells me about when he gets hurt on his scooter, and when he comes to school, he lets me know how exactly it happened. His mom let me know that they're from Vale originally, and that they still love to go camping, and that they like to do outdoors type stuff. While Bradley will let you know if he likes something or doesn't on the spot, when I asked him, he specifically said the smartboard and the games he plays on it. He also likes when his mom and dad help him learn things. Here's a specific list that his mom gave me about stuff he likes at school and stuff he likes to do at home. Bradley's mom told me that he likes school but does not love school. But I told her that I have seen days where Bradley lights up when he learns something or is having the time of his life with his friends, so I know for a fact that he does love it. I asked this question specifically because of the experience I have had with Bradley and how he acts in different situations. He acts one way with the smartboard doing fun games, but if you take it and change it into a more of a structured, answered quality time, then he may not interact the same way. Bradley is very adaptable sometimes to change. He's social with adults and children. He has a happy-go-lucky attitude and a good sense of adventure. He also knows how to articulate his abilities to lead and the way he does things in the classroom. Bradley also shows qualities of being stubborn when asked to do something, or he also gets in arguments with children over simple things. When I asked Bradley's mom if he likes to be in small groups or learn individually, she stressed that he just likes to be engaged. He also likes to learn through like building magnet tiles or Minecraft, she knew. I really like how his mom stressed that I might know better since I work with him every day. I told her everything I knew each day she came and picked him up to build a relationship. I asked what the ideal educational setting would be for her and her son because I thought it would be interesting to think about what she might put if I asked, stressing the fact that it would be what he likes and what she likes. I always made sure to assure her that Bradley was a wonderful boy and that she had nothing to worry about because he was always so willing to change what he had done wrong and he was so willing to make other people happy. My main question coming out of this is that how am I going to pursue if a bunch of children are acting with lack of focus or acting up in a classroom, especially if I am a classroom teacher in a public school with a lot of students? I have come to the realization that schools these days, with the exception of daycares, do not allow for a lot of recess or playtime. My question is, compared to when I was a kid, how would allowing the children to be more of be more of an actual child and play more, allow them to gain time in the classroom where they're actually learning? I am very interested in how excess technology can lead to children experiencing a lack of interest in learning from people and people-to-people interactions. I also hope to, while I'm a first-year student, experience a success with satisfying the basic needs of the children in my class. Reflecting on all of this, I just hope that Bradley is having a successful year in his public school education. I know that as soon as you get into public education, the opportunity to be labeled will happen, and that I hope that that goes successful for him. In the text we have for this class, Rick Parsons explained how when he was going through school, it wasn't until he got one teacher that helped him channel his energy and figure out how to make learning more effective for him by rewarding himself with an activity that will really make him happy at the end. There is a quote in a book called Teaching Transformed that states something that I really enjoy. Fairness has since been sought through equity, which accepts equivalence understood in more complex ways than merely as sameness, and which recognizes that in shared schools, equity means that changes must occur for everyone if everyone is to learn. This applies to Bradley and my experience observing him because it tells me that there was a difficult time where Bradley would complain by not being treated what he thought was fair. But in a way, other children would also say that when I allowed him to play the smartboard exclusively. And it come to my attention that there needs to be more education for myself about how to make this apparent to children and how they have to accept that not everyone is the same, yet we can make everyone happy in a way. That was my learner analysis presentation. My name is Anthony Michael Johnson, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you.